Gators Breakdown, because there's never a dull moment in Gator Nation.
The Gators Breakdown podcast is ready to go. I am your host, David Waters. You can find me on, let's just say social media now. Social media at GatorDave_SEC. And back at you. 2 episodes in one day. Unfortunately, the earlier episode of Justice Boone tearing his ACL and then out for the season put that out earlier, but in that same press conference, Billy Napier didn't name a starter in the press conference. But just a few hours later, on a Friday afternoon, Billy Napier has named Graham Mertz starting quarterback for the Florida Gators for the 2023 season. So, hey, look, not a big surprise, of course, out there. We've been all following it along the last few weeks since spring practice, and you would have asked 90%, 95% of Gator Nation, and this would have been the answer they would have given you of who would have been the starting quarterback for the Gators this season. And look, once Graham Mertz come in, all the experience he brings to the table, all the snaps at Wisconsin, it was going to be hard for him not to be the starting quarterback here for the Gators. And we all remember going through the winter and the spring rumors and transfers and reclassifications, and if there'd be other quarterbacks coming in for the battle. It didn't really matter anyway. Once he was in the fold through the transfer portal, and then we had the whole, Austin Simmons saga. If he'd reclassify and be part of this quarterback, it wouldn't have been really a battle for him. He just would have been inserted into it. But once Graham Mertz committed to the Gators through the transfer portal, more than likely he was going to be your 2023 quarterback there in a battle with Jack Miller throughout the spring, coming out of spring as the guy. And then now, we'll figure out what happens behind him. Who's the guy, in the second quarterback spot? Is it Jack Miller? Is it Max Brown? Miller did get more of the snaps in the scrimmage for the second team, and that changed a little bit from Max Brown getting more of the second team reps back in the open practice last week. So, as I said, that could be part of a rotation with the quarterback spot behind Graham Mertz, but he's pretty much been the leader in the clubhouse. And then just now made official on this Friday that he will be the starting quarterback for the Gators this season. So plenty to get into right here. We'll go through Graham Mertz again, kind of the storyline. Not much to discuss. We've been discussing Graham Mertz and the quarterbacks here, but kind of just going back a little bit and looking at his time at Wisconsin, spring game here at Florida, what we've been hearing lately, of course, as well, how he fits into this offense. So hit that like button. Subscribe to Gators Breakdown if you haven't done so yet. Everybody, thanks for hopping on live. Right here with the second episode of the day. So smash that like button. Subscribe to Gators Breakdown on YouTube, whether you're watching the replay version or not. Subscribe to your favorite podcast platform as well. Then, of course, Gators Breakdown Plus. A lot of conversation. I mean, it's hot and heavy. We get the closer we get to the season here, of course. A lot of conversation going on right now. More on the football side than the recruiting side for a change after that hot summer in recruiting. But you get access to that Discord chat. You get all the extra episodes. You guys got a preview of the chat style episodes that we do over there. All those, you get the full episode there if you're a Gators Breakdown Plus member. Also, you get ad-free episodes. Football season's cranking up. We got sponsors rolling in left and right. There's going to be a lot of supporters of Gators Breakdown through sponsors. So, hey, if they get kind of, you don't want to hear it a little bit, a benefit, starting at $3 a month, you get ad-free episodes on Gators Breakdown Plus. Q&As, giveaways, custom shout-outs right there, Gators Breakdown Plus. Link is in the description to join. All right, let's get to Graham Mertz. And look, of course, I think, guys, we know consistency is what we're looking for. It's going to be the name of the game for Graham Mertz. And something he couldn't necessarily do at Wisconsin. And you heard Will and I say the other day, two things can be true at the same time. Wisconsin, of course, did not do him any favors with their predictable play calling, putting him in bad situations, a run game that had fallen off from previous levels. They didn't have that help in the run game that Wisconsin quarterbacks are accustomed to, not using play action when he excelled at it. All those things are true. But at the same time, he didn't take advantage when there were opportunities presented to him. A clean pocket, still struggling, throws that shouldn't have been made when he did have a clean pocket, happy feet. We'll get into all that, but now, game to game, it left a lot to be desired for Graham Mertz, and decided a fresh start was needed. Hardly a mark of consistency there. Situation is better at Florida, and now it's up to him to take advantage. Where it is, of course, been pretty good so far in fall camp. And what he does well is what we have seen so far in fall camp, and all that dates back to his Wisconsin days as well. Some of the things he did well there, knowing the playbook, and that translating into getting into the right play, getting all the pre-snap reads, his ability to make quick decisions, pretty good footwork in those situations as well. And we've also seen plenty of throwing on the run. You go back to the open practice. We've seen highlights throughout the week or weeks now since fall camp has been there, and throwing on the run. He does that well. And a lot of that at Wisconsin kind of had to. That offensive line did not do him any favors. He was throwing on the run a lot, and then I think that kind of affected him a bit, where he probably got happy feet, probably saw some ghost, and was throwing on the run or escaping the pocket when he really didn't need to. But now maybe there's a confidence in what he sees at Florida in the offensive line in front of him. So now we'll see if Florida can take the advantage of some design rollouts. If Graham Mertz can take advantage of more design rollouts that we've been accustomed to seeing in Billy Napier's offense. Can he use this offense to become better after the snap? The pre-snap stuff he does really well. I don't have much worry right there. It's pre-snap where at Wisconsin, that's kind of where it fell off a bit. There's plenty of tape out there for all these coaches to put together a game plan of what he struggles with and what he's got to get better with post-snap. Him getting protection would be a big part of that. And another reason why I think this offense could be better suited for him and the offensive line, the short, intermediate throws, better playmakers to get it to, an offense designed with those rollouts in mind, an offense that will actually use play action, something that he excels at. It would go a long way in helping Graham Mertz become that more consistent quarterback. So, it helps him in the areas that he needs help the most. So easier post-snap reads, there's still a lot to prove there. I do think this offense better suited for him. They're building it around him as well, building it around the playmakers Florida has, maybe even helping an offensive line that won't be maybe quite as good as last year, but his quick decision-making being pretty good, I think you can build an offense around that. Now, at times, I discussed this earlier as well, you're going to have to hit some downfield throws. The opportunities are going to have to be there. And when they are there, you're going to have to take advantage of it. I'm eager to see how he's a big lover of the tight ends at Wisconsin when he used them there. Arlis Boardingham comes in this year as a breakout player we've labeled since the spring. And now maybe that's a better option for tight ends or for Florida quarterbacks that they haven't had at the tight end position in quite some time. Minus Kyle Pitts, of course, but he was receiver / tight end. I'm talking about more a guy who was going to line up mostly at tight end. Be that blocker, and 2 tight end sets that Florida's going to be putting out there. Arlis Boardingham, Odom, of course, we'll see where Xanders and how he comes back, but Odom, Boardingham, I think will be big benefactors of Graham Mertz being the quarterback for the Gators. So for him, can he get away from holding on the ball too long and failing to make the right post-snap reads? Made even worse, the interceptions with the clean pocket, with no pressure in his face, just bad decisions, forced throws, gets happy feet for no reason, choppy footwork that will lead to the off-balance throws that they tend to sell a bit. I'm wondering if the confidence in the offense just helps him there. You're getting into more of a rhythm. You trust. I think that's going to be a big part for Graham Mertz, is just trusting what's around him, trusting his offensive line, trusting his playmakers, trusting his coaches to put him in the right situation. I could see a situation, and we've discussed this on the Gators Breakdown Plus Discord, where he may just been really, really frustrated in that Wisconsin offense, not being able to take advantage of what he excels at, not using what he excels at, and it just kind of bleeds over, and it's kind of just it falls off the cliff, and he can't get it back there. Hopefully, not trying to make excuses for him, just looking at reasons why this could work out, why it could be better, why he's suited more for Billy Napier's offense. Now, like at Wisconsin now, he's going to have a run game to lean on, hopefully a better run game to lean on. I think we all expect it to be better. Now, Wisconsin historically, recent history says, all right, they run the ball better than Florida. Well, not last year. This Florida offense and this run game, this is something Graham Mertz can lean on, something Billy Napier can lean on. game manager does not have to be a bad term. I mean, I'm not sure he has the capability to carry an offense game in and game out. Now, situations, sure. I mean, you hope you have a run game to lean on, and most of the time it's not on his shoulders, but there are going to be times this season he's going to have to prove he can carry the team in certain situations. Not game in and game out. It's not what this offense is even going to ask him to do. There's going to be situations. Florida's run game, for as good as it was last year, there were a few games, a couple of games, especially later in the season, where they couldn't get it going. Can you put the game on your shoulders and go out there and get it done? So, obviously, best case scenario, run game gets going and get into position where first reads open a good bit. Worry there, maybe trying to relate it to Wisconsin a little bit more. Competition will certainly increase in the SEC. Playing some, I mean, look, Big Ten's got some good defenses. I'll give them that too. But we know the level of competition is about to rise. Mertz just didn't have many options he could count on at wide receiver while at Wisconsin. Florida's wide receiver core has a lot to prove. As excited as we are about them, they got to go out there and prove it. But they certainly have some options that we think can get open. But they'll need to help the quarterback by beating coverage, beating one-on-one situations. Play calling needs, to help scheme those guys open as well. So, I mean, looking at Graham Mertz, I mean, I think the situation really is better. He's got to take advantage. And he's got the ability to beat poor defenses out there. He showed that. At base level, he showed that at Wisconsin. You can beat the poor defenses. But once the better defenses take the field, that's where he struggled at Wisconsin. When the ground game struggled, he struggled. Can he overcome the inconsistent past? So when Florida was in the market for a transfer quarterback, now I asked myself, can Florida get a quarterback that will take care of the ball? For the most part, I think Graham Mertz can do that. Can he make up for a retooled offensive line? That's going to remain to be seen. That question still is going to linger. Can he make up for a retooled offensive line? We'll have to see what the run game does and helping him along the way. But that's going to be part of it as well. Florida's offensive line last year, while not giving up a lot of sacks, a lot of that's to do with Anthony Richardson and his ability to make guys miss, escape the pocket, use his speed, use his athleticism. Graham Mertz is going to, now the parts we talk about for him of getting the ball out of his hands, making quick decisions, quick reads, that's where he's going to excel, different than what Anthony Richardson did. So while Anthony Richardson's athleticism was able to help the offensive line, it's going to be Graham Mertz's decision-making to help the offensive line. And then when play call for a shot is there down the field, offensive line is going to have to hold their part. Graham Mertz is going to have to make the throw and make the right decision. And then another thing that I asked myself, can he make up for whoever? This is before Graham Mertz. Before when Florida was, we know, shopping for a quarterback. Can we get a quarterback that will take care of the ball? Can we get one that will make up for a retooled offensive line? And the last one was, can he make up for a defense that's just been putrid since 2020? Now, I think the defense is going to be better, but we still got to see it. And what if it's not? Then you're asking even more from your offense, even more from your quarterback, even more from your coach fitting in with this quarterback. I think most of us think this defense will take a step up. But if not, do you have a quarterback that can make up the difference? Now, I don't know about that. Those are things he may have to overcome. I feel encouraged by what we've seen this fall. You guys know, I put it out there this week, how encouraged I am about this team right now. But there's still a lot of questions, still a lot to, as good as I feel, they got to go out and prove how I feel right now. go out there and do it. We're encouraged by what we've heard and seen this fall camp. We have to see it. We have to see him overcome what he previously did at Wisconsin. Just because he's at a new place does not mean it's an instant fix. We knew this was a transfer that had all the answers already, but one that was going to have to go out there and prove it. Him being named starter doesn't prove it. Step one is complete by winning the job. Next step, go out there and do it. I think he'll be fine. I do think he'll be fine. But, games turn out all kind of weird and stuff this year. Every season, you got storylines that you just don't see coming along. What's that going to be for this Florida team? Is it where Graham Mertz has to open it up a little bit more and he excels at it? Is it going to be where he may not have to? Maybe the ground game's even better than we think it is. and he's just game managing, hitting speedy receivers. The big plays are just getting the ball in the receiver's hands, not a 60-yard pass down the field, but a screen pass or a slant that goes 60 yards. They're going to ask him a lot to just, hey, put the ball in your playmaker's hands. That's going to be a big part of his game. Pre-snap, get us in the right play. RPO game, get the ball into the playmaker's hands. I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see it because of what Florida has around him in the playmaking spot, at running back, at receiver, at tight end. I mean, look, we're not asking Graham Mertz in this offense to be 2020 Florida, 2019 LSU, 2020 Alabama. We know better than that. But can this offense, Graham Mertz, come in, lead this team to 8 wins, 9 wins ceiling maybe? Certainly, I mean, it's there. You get good quarterback play. 8 wins is certainly attainable. Certainly attainable. All right, man, a lot of comments. Here we go. I will try and catch up with some of these comments before a sign off right here. Second episode here. Gator Nation says, Gator Nation, fire UF shorts. Okay. Just get Wilson the ball any way possible. He's going for a 60-yard TD. I mean, look, that's just, I think, the name of the game this year. Get the ball to Ricky Pearsall. Get the ball to Wilson. Hit the ball downfield every now and then to a Burke or Douglas. Hit your tight ends down the seam. I mean, once again, go look at Mertz in Wisconsin and tight ends down the seam. And kind of go into another point here. Yeah. Odom, Arliss. Q Lee says, kind of going to that part, I think the tight end position will take 2 more years to get back on track. Yeah, to get back on track, yeah, I think you can see some good things this year. It's not where we want it to be. They can't, they get hurt so much. This is in 2 seasons of Billy Napier, this is just one position group that cannot stay healthy. So hopefully Boardingham stays healthy. Hopefully Odom progresses along enough this fall where he's out on the field. I love what I saw from him toward the end of the year. He could be an additional quote-unquote offensive lineman. We know he can be a threat in the passing game as well. Not over and over again, but block, okay, fake a block, and then you're open for a pass. Plenty of experience, Graham Mertz. One more time, the numbers. I went through, kind of what we have seen so far at Wisconsin, but can't escape the numbers. Started 32 games for Wisconsin, 2,075 career snaps, 460 of 773 for 5,405 yards, 38 touchdowns, 26 interceptions. So the interception that's got to come down. 26 interceptions in that time frame in 32 games, not great. So it's just get Florida in the right play. Make the right decision. Limit, as if I can say the name right, Natakos, limiting dumb mistakes through the greater experience and system, help this team be dangerous. And yeah, there we go. Kind of for Graham Mertz as well. You got to use that experience. Oh, yeah, Tim, for sure. Better clock management going into the half and starting quicker in the second half will be huge. Oh, yeah, that middle 8, last 4 of the first half. First 4 of the second half, absolutely one of the biggest things I'll be looking for this fall for Florida to improve at, and maybe with better quarterback play, that comes about. A more consistent quarterback play. Billy Napier just gets even better as a play caller in those situations. Okay, let me come back up a little bit. Q Lee, 8-9 would be a good season. Yeah, sign me up. Where do I sign? I'll sign up right now. It'll be a lot of good wins if you win 8-9 games. Alexander Alza, yeah, ESPN has Florida 8-4 right now. They're using their FPI. With the games Florida is favored in, according to the FPI, Florida should turn out to be about an 8-4 team. Let's see. Don't know why people gotta talk bad about people in here, but okay. Let's see. Kind of going through some more comments. There's a lot of them, so surprised. Shouldn't be surprised but I wasn't sure on a Friday night. Yeah, Friday evening and the short notice for an episode. There we go. Nathaniel Rogers says Mertz is exactly what we need right now. I mean, he's certainly the best out of the competition Florida has. It's better than Jack Miller, better than Max Brown. We'll see what the competition behind him for those two mean and where it goes. I know Brian Fisher brings it up too and says about Shane Matthews been spot on when it comes to the QBs. Yeah, it was not all that high on Anthony Richardson last year. And then he's pretty high on what he's seen from Graham Mertz the last couple of weeks. Bum, 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 bum. All right. Q Lee says, I don't know what Matthew sees in Mertz because I don't see it. Well, we get to see a lot more than we do. For one, we don't get to go to practice and see how he fits into this offense. Besides the open practice and besides the spring game, as like you guys know, I don't take much stock in them at all. We can talk about them. We'll discuss them. It means very little to me. And how everything kind of, if you have multiple spring games to go about with one single player, then okay, you maybe can start kind of putting some things together because of them, but just based off of one, and need this team to stay healthy. Though you're not healthy in the spring, certainly along the offensive line. Billy Napier even mentioned it in the scrimmage. That at least on the second level, a depth concerns right there now as well. That's mainly along the offensive line too. It's a group that's hopefully getting some players back. Mazuka coming along nicely. Hudson coming along. Will start being on the practice field now after clearing concussion protocol after a car accident. So starting to get it. Goodwin had to transfer out, of course. Unfortunately, you lose one there. So Florida's got to find some answers at tackle. We need Barber to stay healthy for sure. If anything happens there, then these good feelings, expectations kind of wane a little bit. Damian George there at right tackle. We'll see, Hudson being that third, maybe backing up both guys. We'll see where it goes. All right. Good stuff. Good stuff, guys. Thanks for hopping on right here. Coming at you with 2 episodes today. Be sure to check out the last one, as I said, with quarterback talking, that one, because as I mentioned, was going over Billy Napier's press conference today, and he wasn't going to name a starter, and we knew it was going to be Graham Mertz. It was just only a matter of time. He wanted to talk to the team, wanted to talk to the players, had practice today, assume it happened then, and then the word coming out that there's going to be Graham Mertz. So the episode does go into more of Justice Boone and his unfortunate injury, tearing his ACL, out for the season. Also, what that means for the Florida defensive front, and some more scrimmage notes in the last episode as well. So lots out there for you as we march closer to football season. Getting excited, counting down the days, ready to see it. All right, guys, that'll do it. I'm your host, David Waters. Follow me on Twitter, X, at GatorDave_SEC. Guys and girls out there, thank you for joining me on this episode of Gators Breakdown.